Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's after church tea time. I'd like everybody to please just introduce themselves, and then we carry on from there. And our conversation is going to be around divine play, following on the sermon of Laurentia and Alexandra.
Hello, my name is Fabian. I've been in the community for some time now, and I love the sermon, especially because Laurentia and Alexandra are my Ascension coaches. Definitely looking forward to this tea time, having fun with you.
Awesome.
And we are Daniel and Christina, and yeah, we really enjoyed this sermon. We are all about play, and we're excited to discuss it. And yeah, Alexandra and Laurentia are also our coaches. So yeah, it was an excellent sermon.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Lisi, and I really enjoyed the sermon. And I've played games with Alexandra and Laurentia, and also with Daniel and Christina. We played Mario Kart together a couple times. So I'm really interested in the topic of play and really doing some healing around play.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm Caroline. I want everyone to know I'm taking this very seriously today.
Hello, Caroline. That's a good start. If you feel like you need to let go of the nose now so you can breathe, you're welcome to.
It's hard to breathe under that thing. Okay.
I know, I'm sure. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Yeah, I'm Granville Campbell. I've actually been a dance teacher in part of my life. And part of it was fun, and part of it wasn't so much fun. So we're going to just concentrate on the play part of it today, right? Because actually, I feel into it, and I feel like we've all been called to play in one way or another. And we kind of always almost forget that there's fun to be had in those play spaces. And so for me, it was very interesting to hear the sermon from Laurentia and Alexandra around when you take God with you in that play space. It's so much better. And I feel like God has a sense of humor, so I laugh all the time. Like everybody says God's trolling us. I laugh all the time because I'll have a thought and I'll see something and I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah, so it's one of those things where you just kind of sometimes need to take the step back and remember to play.
Thanks for saying that, Granville. Actually, that's really funny. Those of you who are just joining right after church, we had what we call like a troll from God, because I was, closing the service and my Kilby and Keely's name came up instead of mine. And I noticed this kind of growly, grumpy, kind of feeling. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just have fun, right? Let's just laugh together and have fun. And I was like, it's so fitting and perfect. And it was like, sometimes those things happen where you don't expect them to happen. And then they're divinely orchestrated. It was perfect.
Yeah, it's always an opportunity to laugh. There's the serious energy of something went wrong, or there's the fun energy of, like I said, it went wrong, but it's actually quite funny. So I can have fun here.
I liked the whole point about how work is play and play is work when it's your life purpose. I loved that thought because I don't know. I feel like we're all at different points, especially in pandemic, where we're going within, especially as unionists, and really looking at what is fun to us. How is it possible to have fun? These are kind of interesting times. What lights us up? What does work look like at this point? Yeah, I find that really a lovely point.
Yeah, and I think sometimes I feel like we just take things too seriously, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I feel like this sermon was perfectly timed because, like, for me, it's exactly what I'm learning right now. Like, exactly the lesson about work as play, and play. It should feel really, really good, and seeing God in what you're doing. It's really about having a relationship, right, in what you're doing, and seeing God there, and that just allows it to be light and fun and easy. And in our case, like, our life purpose revolves around creative expression, and in many different areas. And yeah, that's what I'm learning right now, to see God in anything that I'm doing, and it makes it feel better, much better.
Yeah, and yeah, like I really feel like, when you take your work as play, like when your work is like most aligned, it does feel engaging. Like like play is about curiosity, right? And so like yeah, like if my work isn't like intellectually stimulating for me, like I'm bored, And so like yeah, like it's really important that you're like making sure to engage in work that's actually like stimulating your curiosity, right? Like that's a huge part of play. um so yeah, like that gives so much to you when you're actually able to um solve puzzles in your work, solve problems, like figure things out, engage in that way. Like if things like start to get like really easy, that like it just that starts to be boring, and that's where it's always changing and growing. Like you're always solving a new problem with God, and that's like a huge part of play. I think like that's like if you look at little kids playing, they're solving problems.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like the foundation, to experience that joy and that fun is always that underlying peace. And, fun is not this exciting, anxious kind of thing, but it's coming from that peaceful state. And that peace we can really feel in everything that we are doing. And knowing that I would be in that tea time with you all today, I was like paying attention, and like bringing fun to the mundane things as well in my life, like feeding the cats, for example, And, usually I just put that food into the bowl and then just enjoy it. But this time I have like this dry food, and I just threw it, a bit, and they were like hunting that and like running behind it and catching the treats and stuff. And so that mundane aspect that I'm gonna do every day suddenly was really enjoyable, and like it had this spark in it.
Well, because even the mundane things support you, right? Like if you don't do the mundane thing, you can't do the like bigger thing. And so like every piece of your life builds on itself and can be fun.
Yeah, I like what you shared about your cats, Fabian, and your cats were kind of jostling around in the background too. That was really funny. But yeah, it's like what Alexandra and Laurenti were saying about how, you're doing it with God, and God is joyful and happy and fun. God isn't like that idea of like going into like, you know, prayer position on your knees on the pew and in the chapel. That's not that's not God. Of course God is very sincere, but he's also really fun and playful. And I like getting inspired to do things in a different way, like doing your foundational work in a fun way with God. And the more God, Alexander Laurenti said, the more God you have, the more fun you have. More God, more fun. um, and it's really doing it with love, and it can change the whole ball game on even if you do the Alexandra mentioned like the action, taking an action with a different state of inner beingness is going to totally change it around. And you can do it the exact same way, but it's the state that's in your heart as you do it that matters.
Yeah, I like the part about more God, more fun, because I feel like we just like I feel like I just want to always have fun, and even as Christina said, in those mundane things, they don't have to be energy sapping, because you're supporting your life, and it's fun to support your life, and it's fun to support your house in that way, and it's fun to support kind of the environment around you in that way. So even that mundane thing of sweeping the pavement can be fun, because it's in support of the life that you're trying to create, and you're creating that life with God.
Thank you.
Can I read some of the comments?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. We have Deb says, we are all divine. We are divine children, and children play all the time. They learn and explore through playing. And then Alexandra writes, that is especially important since people seem to take a break from work in order to have fun or party on the weekend or go on vacation. But when you're living your life purpose, you'll naturally flow into work and play without the need of a break, she writes. That's really, yeah, that was really cool.
That really paints a beautiful picture of like a mastery that you can attain, where you just flow with God throughout your day, and you're productive. You are like busy all the time. Like that's the idea, right? And there's always this thing that is perfect for you right now, that gives to you right now. And sometimes it's, well, I'm gonna calculate my income this month, but since you have been like maybe playing this super awesome Nightmare Craft video game just before, calculating the taxes now actually feels fun to you, because it's maybe helping you just be with yourself, and ground all of that maybe high energy from beforehand. And then taxes are calculated. Oh, actually, I'm gonna write this message to this person. And there's always this other fun thing to do. And this is what flowing with God really is, right? So it's not that like, all right, this is work, and then, oh, I have 90 minutes every day just for fun. Well, definitely do things just for yourself, but have fun in everything, right?
I love that, because like actually even those things like calculating your taxes and all that stuff, like that's grounding you so that you can experience the like high of playing the game, right? Like if you're looking to get high all the time in everything you're doing, you're going to burn out. Like you need that balance of like grounding things, and then like things that take more energy in that way. And like yeah, like your whole life is like a flow and a wave, and like those grounding activities are also really delightful, and you can feel it when you haven't been doing that and you crave it, and it's just like, I just need to do some paperwork right now, like it's you can feel it when you need those things. And having a balance and like flowing with God in that space, like yeah, like I made a choice like a while ago that was like, I just want my whole life to just feel like a romance. And when you do that, like when you do everything with God, like everything you do just feels really good. Even those really grounding things, like that feels so juicy.
Caroline, were you going to say something before Lisi read some of those comments?
Yeah, I just the Mary Poppins song came in my head where she's like, "In everything that must be done, there must be an element of fun." And she goes into a spoonful of sugar, makes the medicine go down. Um, and I don't know. I think about this is such an interesting topic. I love that this was the sermon today because I've been wrestling with this. I'm really kind of struggling with like, I feel like I'm not having fun. And so there's something I need to really re-examine and make new choices about because I feel like I'm not having fun. And I don't know. So I'm listening intently and just sort of seeing what people say.
We were in that space like probably about a month ago where we just felt like yeah, like we weren't having fun. And that's when I made that new choice where I was like, well, I just want my whole life to feel like a romance.
Mm.
And I think it's really about like there's a space within you where you're just not allowing yourself to enjoy life. You might be saying, well, I'll enjoy life when XYZ happens, or when I'm in a certain position. But like the thing is, like your life can be fully enjoyable right now, right? And like even like if things don't feel great, like that's all part of your story and like part of your journey, and you can like savor that moment in time where like you were working through like a challenging time, you know? Like I think it's really about a mindset about choosing to like my whole thing is a story that God is telling, and my whole life is a story that God is telling, and like I want to be present for all of it and enjoy all of it, even the times that don't feel good. Like there's a lot of love and juiciness in there, you know?
Yeah, one thing I want to add also, like I had a realization about this because I was in the same space, Caroline, where I was having issues like creating and having fun with it. And I came to the realization that like I started thinking about what felt the juiciest when I create and what felt the most peaceful. And it's when I wasn't having expectations of myself in the creation. I was just allowing it to be like a peaceful meditation or just allowing it to flow. And when I wasn't expecting anything of myself, then that's when like creation feels the best to me, I feel like, and it feels fun. And I could just do it for hours and hours and hours, and then it just flows.
That's how a child creates.
Yeah. So that's what I learned from it. Yeah.
That's so good. Lately, so I am an actor, I'm a singer, I've, done all sorts of things creatively, and lately I've just been like, none of it feels fun. What is the deal? And you're Daniel, I love that point because it's like I have such expectations for what each of those things mean and what I'm supposed to meet and be for each of those things. And what I keep getting lately, what the nudge keeps getting, and it was even in the sermon today, has been about painting. Which I'm so excited to play with. Because I have no expectations for that, like none. It's just like, oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's like when you see a child playing, they don't have expectations of themselves. They're just in like a space of like awe and wonder, curiosity, peace. They're just at peace and they just draw or they just play and no expectations. They just do it freely, and that's what feels the best. Their children are masters of play, I feel like.
Yeah, and I feel like, that's how children learn best, and they learn best by doing, right? And experiencing. And that's not any different for adults, right? And so like, yeah, I think maybe there's a space in there where you're wanting to be at a certain place in all of those things. And so you're pushing yourself instead of relaxing into where you are.
Just letting yourself be.
Yeah, and letting that naturally expand. Yeah, because there's a lot of love to be given, like exactly where you are, and you don't become valuable when you're at a certain spot. Like you're valuable now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you feel about acting and singing and the other thing you said?
When I'm doing it just for fun, like just for the pleasure of it, it's delightful.
Mhm.
When I feel like I have to perform or I have to get it right, or, you know, I have to meet someone else's expectation, it kills the fun for me.
So is that person separate from God?
No.
No. And so like you're putting your good and your peace outside of yourself when you're trying to meet someone else's expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like literally all you can do is your best with God. And so when you kind of allow yourself to release that, you know, you're like taking on some kind of heavy energy when you like put someone else's expectations on yourself. Like you're not responsible for what they think of you. You just have to meet like what the position requires, what the role requires, right? And it's up to you and God how that happens. And you can receive guidance from that person that's working with you, but like wanting to please them is what's like zapping all your joy away, because now it's no longer about you having fun. Now it's about them.
Yeah. Awesome.
Like, yeah, like it's actually also a receiving block, right? Because you wouldn't have gotten that role if it wasn't like God gave you that role, right? And so, yeah, like fully receiving what God gave to you means like fully like enjoying it and doing like giving of yourself in that role. Right? Putting yourself onto like another person's expectations of you in that role, now like you're not really receiving the gift. Now you're kind of saying like, I don't think I'm worthy of the gift. You know?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, yeah, like acting is an extremely competitive industry. There's lots of really competitive industries, and like how do people really excel in those industries? It's the ones that like just love it. It's definitely not the ones that like like try to like please everybody.
Amen. The biggest roles I got are because I was having fun. Yeah. It makes sense.
We got quite a lot of comments, and I really appreciate what you were talking about, Daniel and Christina and Caroline. Your dialogue was really healing for me. There they go. Let's start with Michaela, talking about, children in play. She wrote, when I was a kid, my siblings and I used to go in the woods and make whole towns out of big logs and sticks and things. It was hard work, especially for young kids, but we had so much fun doing it because we were creating something really rewarding with God. This topic reminded me of that feeling. And Aubrey says, no separation, always in the flow, choose joy now. And Deb writes, letting go of the belief that life has to be a struggle. I've been working through that as well. Natalie, right? Sometimes something doesn't feel good. It's because God is calling us to maybe do something else that feels more juicy to us in the moment, even rest, for example. Jasmine, right? Same thing, Caroline. I feel that by embodying this work, we experience true love within. And so everything now present in society, or at least most of it, seems empty. What do you guys think about this? And we have another comment from Alexandra, but I wanted to just give everyone a chance to speak to Jasmine's comment because she asked a question to the group. So, yeah, she says that, everything now present in society, or at least most of it, seems empty. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I've actually been working on this a lot. Like, yeah, it's okay to appreciate the difference between like where you are and like how you experience society. But I think it's really important that, like, if you notice that, like, to love people and like spread unionism through society, right? Like, you can't like cloister yourself off and be like, society's awful, I only want this. Like, you live in society, you can't help that, like, you know. And so like yeah, it's really important, I think, to, like, if you see that about society, to love in the places that you're called. You know, it doesn't mean you have to take it upon yourself to fix everything, but you just have compassion for those places that feel empty. And, you know, there's that Rumi quote that's like, if everything around you is the darkness, maybe you are the light. So it's, you know, it's really important to go shine your light in those spaces and love in those spaces, right? As you're called to.
That's beautiful, and it speaks to basically bringing your own fun into the world, and not really, you don't even have to focus on, like, you know, necessarily radiating your light, but you do it automatically by enjoying yourself and just having fun. And it was also touched upon by Lorenzo and Alexandra, right, where they talked about this video game that was not created from a healed mind, and thus you hit a wall at some point where you can't really go deeper. But also you can choose to have fun anyway, because you can choose to be with God, even experiencing a creation by someone from an unhealed mind. And of course, it would be much better if it was completely here, then you can have probably much more fun and like on a, you know, like eternally and stuff like that. But if God calls you to go out and to maybe go into this place where not everything is perfect, as long as God has been calling you to go there, to be there, to do that thing, then this is all that is required for you to really have that joyful feelings.
Yeah, that feels good. I feel like we're getting into the heart of it in terms of just go with God. You know, and again, you know, it just always comes back to add more love. When in doubt, add more love, even in that niggly space. And I find that when I'm not radiating the love that I feel, things around me do sometimes feel empty. But it's also because possibly I may be looking for those things to fill me up, and they shouldn't be filling me up. I should go into that space feeling full already. And I think that that's something that we as unionists, as you say, Christina, can kind of bring into the world. Absolutely.
Yeah, like, I mean, I feel like you create your own reality, and so you do have the capacity to transform the environment that you're in, you know, and you'll get that feedback about whether your environment is open to changing or not. But there's no limitation. Like, you don't need to like accept limitation, you know. Like, if God gives you like a divine assignment in an unhealed place, that doesn't mean that like you can't achieve it, right? You don't need to be working with a bunch of people who do inner work all the time to accomplish great things. As long as you are choosing to embody the work and be with God, like that's all that really matters. You just have to worry about the piece that God gave you to do, you know, and great things can be accomplished.
Yeah, and I feel like those great things absolutely do come from the space of fun. They come from the space of where we don't see that there's actually an opportunity to play here. And you actually find if you do take that step back, you find the opportunity to play. And the play is what brings the joy in that space. And it's not because you've expended significant amounts of energy trying to manipulate things around you. It's actually just that you've kind of settled back into that space that God has said to you, this is your space, and I'm going to walk with you. And let's do it in a fun way. And I love that you've made the choice that your life must be a romance. I actually love that. I'm like, yeah, I feel like that's a good choice to make here, because it's going to be fun. It's always then going to be fun.
I was also thinking, like, within any structure you're given or any sort of circumstance you're given, how the parameters can actually help you to go deeper in play and fun. Because, like, Granville, I know you dance, and I know everyone does something creative on this panel right now. Like, I'm thinking in music too. Like, you have, you know, a melody, you have the lyrics, you have the time frame you have to deal with. But what you do within those parameters is like the joy, is the play, is so much fun. It sort of displays your I don't know, your unique light and mastery.
Yeah.
I mean, even like I remember studying like Indian ragas, and how to study these songs, these Indian ragas, you would learn the same piece of music. Everybody would learn the same piece of music, but how you played the exact same piece of music, how you uniquely played it, was the mark of your mastery. I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, and it's the same with dancing. So dancing is very choreographed and very designed in that way. But not every single person is going to execute it in exactly the way another person does. And that's where the fun is. And I always enjoyed when I choreographed things outside of a syllabus. Because the syllabus is there, it's standard. People need to learn these things so that they can move in a certain way. But then they bring their own divine expression to it. And it just becomes so much more fun.
Totally.
This reminds me of a pizza. I think in Italy, pizza, I don't know, maybe it's Siciliano or something. They have this one pizza, and that they also like, that is a standard pizza. And you try this one pizza in every restaurant, and then you know how good the restaurant is, because this is like the pizza, and you compare, you know, like this is the master pizza. And I guess, yeah, the more heart and the more love and the more joy you have in that process of creating the pizza, the more passion you feel, then even though this one pizza has the exact same ingredients, you know, and it was in the oven, in the same oven for like the exact long time, it's still better than the pizza that was not maybe so much joy, receiving so much joy than the other one.
Fabian, that was an excellent segue into talking about Jason and Chrissy's divine dish and how much fun that is. And like that was perfect, because when I'm making divine dish, I can make my meal, and I might have done so while I was upset and not from an unhealed state, and I'll make my wrap or whatever it is, the chicken I'm cooking, and it will just not taste as good. The same ingredients are there, the cooking time, same thing. But when I slow down and get centered with God, and just do it from a peaceful place of meditation and just being with God, it just tastes so good and so much better. So that's a really cool thing for anybody that's here that wants to experience play with food. And exactly what Fabian was talking about is like, putting your heart in it, really, is where the fun is. And I wanted to read what Alexandra wrote, because I feel like that flowed really nicely into what she wrote. She wrote, choose to move through that uncomfortable place, love yourself, and make a core choice to live life with God. Play and fun is a big way in which we relate to God. It's safe to explore that without judgment and expectations. The people that excel are the ones that experience the most God and have a deep relationship with God in that space. Yeah, so it's just like doing any activity with God is it's always going to make that fun and enjoyable, and it will be fun and enjoyable for others to experience that too. That's you sharing your gift. I'm curious, I know I related to something Tahira said in her card reading. And she was talking about, she has kids and family and, compartmentalizing things. And before our discussion, I was watching a Twin Flame Ascension School class in which Jeff and Shaleia talk about, the common idea of play is, having compartments for, first work and then play. And oftentimes the play gets lopped off. People, this is like where the party culture, I think we talked about it, like the party culture comes out and like, work really hard and then party. And I love dancing, but I don't like going to dance clubs. Like, I don't like being around all of that. It's kind of like the frustration energy is like released and it feels like really high. But I really enjoy dancing. And yesterday I put on Ed Sheeran's The Shape of You and just danced around my house for a few minutes. And I did the best choreography. I was like, wow, somebody should have filmed that. Well, God did. And, I was dancing with God. It was really, really cool. I mean, I thought so, but it's just like this new idea that you can be free and play at any time of day and be silly and just kind of like come out of your shell. And you don't need to like hold in your fun. Cause I think I did that for a while. My dad would tell me like first work, then play, and kind of like ingrained that um, philosophy into my mind. And that's not how God works. But it was nice to have experienced that, to like say, no, that's not how God works. So yeah.
I think I think that it's not entirely ungrounded, that philosophy. It just needs a tweak, right? It's not first work then play. It's like first your foundation, then you can enjoy things, right? Like you have to take care of your foundation first before you can build on it, right? So what I'm trying to say is you can enjoy all of it. But like it's speaking to the importance of building your foundation so that you can like really express yourself and like go deeper in that enjoyment. But all of those things can be fun. And I think like that statement gets like misinterpreted, or like society has kind of like misinterpreted that really core value of foundation first, right? To mean terrible work you hate first and then your play. And it can actually like nothing has to feel bad.
And that foundation really helps you to indefinitely create higher and higher vibrational and more beautiful art, And this is even something that we can see in our community, how the community was created, solving humanity's biggest problems first, basically finding the perfect partner and, living one's life purpose, and also map healing and not starving anymore, having a perfect food support through divine dish. And then divine gaming, bringing entertainment finally. And then beyond that, there will be probably more art to enjoy, music to enjoy, but it's all building upon that foundation.
I can't wait till we get to divine movies.
You know what? And one of the things that Alexandra and Lorenzo spoke about was nightmare craft, and there's going to be some serious fun in there as well, guys. And that fun, the healing in the process is seriously fun as well. And yeah, like just on Lisi's point, like I do enjoy dancing and I do enjoy going out to dance clubs and things like that. But I find that works for me really well is like if I see something odd, I'm like, okay, which part of me is doing that now? Come on, my love, come on. And it just kind of feels like the energy around me shifts. And so I don't feel that tense energy that people generally take with them. And so it kind of sways into a space of, why do you look so much more comfortable than we do? I'm like, because I'm not here to really impress you. I'm here to have fun. And I don't need to take on your energy, and I don't need to sap my energy, like leak my energy either, which is really fun when you can sit back and go, which part of me is doing that? Okay, no, come home, love. Come home, love. Come home, love. And it's just like, because it takes it out of your awareness because you've brought it home and you've loved that part of yourself. And so then that weird energy that people feel in nightclubs and things like that, I don't generally feel it at all.
Yeah, I used to love going out dancing and stuff, but like, I mean, it's like if you're trying to go and you're trying to like blend with the scene and everything, that's where it can really zap your energy. But like there is a lot of fun in like getting dressed up and going out late and like having some drinks and like being with God and enjoying the music. Like you can still do that and enjoy that, right? Without having to be completely like sucked in by your environment. If you're choosing to really be like what's your intention behind what you're doing? If you're choosing to go and just have fun and like the whole process of it is fun to you, then that's great. But if you just wanted to dance somewhere, then yeah, you can dance in your house, you know?
So Lisi, I wanted to ask you a very direct question around the fun in exercise. Because I've been watching your Facebook post and I'm like, I'm not gonna like that in case she tags me, and then I also have to do a push-up challenge. So yeah, I wanted to just check with you. How do you feel about the exercise and the fun element within exercise?
Well, so I actually am healing that right now in a big way. And I wanted to do the push-up challenge because Chrissy Umrick first did it, and I saw her do it, and it said, you know, tag the next person to do it. And I told her I wanted to be tagged because, well, I thought it was a cool game. It's a challenge. I love challenges. Ooh, you know, that's why I like the twin flame journey, right? And all the inner work, I love that. I think it's what Christina was saying earlier too, like challenge me, it's fun. But the past, I would say like 2 years, I've been challenged by exercise, and I've really felt like this kind of want feeling when it comes to exercise. And then I started listening to or watching TFAS and LPC, and I heard Jeff and Shaleia talk about how they approach exercise, and it just felt so juicy, and it felt so loving and gentle. Like instead of going to the gym and like pounding it out and like really hurting your body and just not being very compassionate to your body, just do things that feel good. And that's what I started doing. So I noticed that my body, you know, it used to look a different way, but that was with the consciousness of kind of trying to manipulate and control it. And then once I started to heal, sure, my body looks different now, but it's in the process of healing and really building that foundation. It feels so much better. And so when I kind of went through this process of letting go of putting the pressure on, and now I'm in this place where I'm starting to add things that feel really good. And so that push-up challenge did two things. First, it gave me an opportunity to talk about MAP because I love the mind alignment process. It has really opened up my mind in places where I was really constricted, and places where I would keep hitting the same wall or the same block over and over again. It just like really opened my mind. A lot of things shifted for me. I mentioned in the service, like with my life purpose, just really following that feeling even deeper. And I just love coaching. I love coaching. I love everything that involves coaching. And I love talking and helping other coaches. So that was something juicy. But to your point about the exercise, is that it felt juicy to me to do those push-ups. And I did them on my knees. And I felt good about talking about something I cared about while doing the physical stuff. And then I started to, dance in my house, like just recently. And I was like, I'm getting a workout doing this. I don't have to watch a yucky video, or well, and they don't have to be yucky, but I take walks regularly, but I can sense that that's now my body wants to add something onto that. I started doing like yoga poses about 4 or 5 times a day instead of having like a yoga time, like, and just like really like listening to my body and really starting to play and really doing it with God. Like listening is a big key to like what I want to do, because I remember at school we had PE time, and that was, yeah, you guys remember PE and the wiffle balls and the hula hoops and the parachute, whatever. And those things were fun, but there were moments when I didn't want to do it. And it's like, you have to do it now. And that didn't feel good. So I'm really healing that, like flowing with my body in play, and healing there, and doing things that feel good and inspiring and juicy.
Thanks. Yeah, that's awesome. Like, yeah, and the reason why I said to you, I didn't want to like your videos because I know those things. You'd like somebody's push-up challenge, and you're the next one that gets tagged. And I've been
I
known to
only
tag
tagged
people in that way
Carmel.
as well.
I only tagged Carmel. Like, I asked her if it was okay. I was like, "Can I tag you?" And then I just kind of did my own thing there. But yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, I
You want me
can't
to
say that
tag
I've
you?
always. No, thank you. That's the fun part, right? If somebody gives you a gift and you don't want the gift, it's still their gift, right? Yeah, no, so and just something that I probably also need to kind of go into the space of healing, that I've never really found exercise to be fun. I found the exercise around dancing to be fun, but the concept of exercise itself doesn't sit in my fun bucket. so that's a good place for me to also go into a bit of healing there. Yeah, I just wanted to check with you guys. How are you feeling right now? Because we've been talking for about 50 minutes, and I don't want us to go over time, but I also want to just check in with you.
Something I really feel like sharing briefly about is my experience with Nightmare, and I'm not going to share anything, like about the game, because it's like not finished and you want to experience that thing for yourself. But just feeling-wise, I got to taste it a little bit, and since I just tried out a few kind of challenges in the game. Since then, I have not touched any other video game, and it's like you know soulmate advice and how to date someone advice, and you compare it to Twin Flame Ascension School, right? And basically that same gap is between your best video game out there in the world right now versus Nightmare Craft. It's gonna be that same quantum leap. And so, yeah, just, it's something that we can all look forward to. I think we can definitely enjoy playing that. And feeling-wise, and Lorenzo and Alexandra touched upon it, it's like, it's really challenging, but it's this challenge of like, oh my God, I died in this moment. My character did, but actually this makes me want to master it even more. That makes me want to overcome it even more. That creates like motivation. I want to really learn and master this piece, And then there's a beautiful story and a beautiful environment to enjoy, really beautiful art, and it's just such a big difference. And just being in that environment, being in that video game world and walking around with your character, it's filling you up with something joyful. Just being there, walking around, And that's something I found myself doing a lot, just walking around the unfinished environment and just enjoying it. It's just like going for a walk, but in an environment that was healed. And being in that environment, even if it's virtual, really gave something to me. And that in conjunction with the beautiful story and the challenges, it's going to be an epic game.
Yeah, I feel pretty complete, and yeah, I can't wait to play Nightmare Craft. And we have a couple more comments. Sierra says I do that too. I think she was referring to dancing, I'm guessing. Francine, thank you for the dance workouts. She posted a link. And then Alexandra said, Granville, you can make it a 25-day dance challenge. The remix.
That's great advice, except I don't know if I want to do a 25-day dance challenge. But yeah, I'd also do it. I also dance around the house. And it's like, and sometimes it's just like, I have this moment where I'm like, yeah, God and I are dancing now. And it just happens. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like there's just coolness everywhere.
If you make a 25-day dance challenge that other people can do, I will do it. That sounds awesome.
I will feel into that space. If I'm called to explore it, I will. I feel good. Oh yeah. How do you guys feel? Are we feeling complete now? Is there anything else you guys would like to add or bring in? Awesome. Thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you for everybody that joined us in the comments as well. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you again for another after church tea time next week. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Granville.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.